So you know what that means, Bitcoin and politics, and I got a good show lined up for you. But before I get to the show, let me talk about our sponsor a little bit, Roundly X. You guys know who they are. They allow you to connect your credit card or debit card to their system, and then you get to stack sats without doing anything different. You just go about your daily routine, go about your daily life, and you can start stacking sats. And if you do this for a long enough period of time, who knows, you might be able to get to a Bitcoin, but that would be a lot of purchases and a lot of stacking sats. But to get you started, if you go over to their website, roundlyx.com, use Bitcoin in politics, you'll get $4 in Bitcoin. So let's get on with the show. All right, folks, here we are. I am going to be talking about the mayors today. I did governors last week, and now it's time to talk about mayors a little bit. Before I do, I want to thank a couple other sponsors that I have. One is Go Forward. I was talking to a friend today about this. Your health is vitally important to you. If you don't have good health, then you can't do anything else, right? And so rather you use Go Forward or you use your own primary care doctor, please go get yourself checked up, understand what your body needs, get enough rest, reduce the stress, live a good life. All right, enough of that. Let's start talking about mayors. I found something very interesting when I started doing this research, that you think that every mayor is the same. Not true. So there are strong mayors, there are council manager mayors, there are city commission mayors, and there are hybrid mayors. And I'm going to run through these a little bit so you'll get an idea about these mayors. So if we look at a strong mayor, and a lot of cities do have strong mayors, the city council serves as the city's primary legislative body. So the city council is the legislative body, but then the mayor actually serves as the city's CEO. So what we're really talking about when we're talking about mayors, you're talking about someone who's running the city, right? Just like someone runs a company, i.e. Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, right? Those guys have really large companies, probably not that size of cities, probably size of some cities. But some of these cities have a lot of people in them, and the people who fill these positions, they have a lot of responsibility. And so they're responsible to keep the money in the city balanced budget. They're there to make sure that everything is running good. Now, if we look at the next one, we're looking at our council manager. This is an elected city council, which includes the mayor and serves as the city's primary legislative body. They appoint a chief executive called a city manager to oversee day-to-day municipal operations and to implement the council's policies and legislative initiatives. So again, a little bit of difference here. Strong mayors are really like the CEO types. You got a lot more collaboration when it comes to council managers. And then as we look at the city commission, a city council composed of elected mayor and a board of elected commissioners serve as the city's primary legislative and administrative body. I'm hoping what you're seeing through this is that none of these people are doing anything by themselves, right? They are still responsible to talk to other people, and they're most likely held accountable by other people. Mayors have a really, really tough job to do, and I hope we're able to respect and appreciate what these folks do. Lastly, we have our hybrid. This is the city council serves as the city's primary legislative body, and the mayor serves as the city's chief executive. The mayor, however, gets to appoint a city manager to oversee the city's day-to-day operations and to implement city policy. So they're giving the mayor the ability to hire a manager to help him run the city for the most part. Okay. So, of course, as you know, I'm interested in the folks that are interested in Bitcoin, right? If you're a mayor, you're not interested in Bitcoin, I'm probably not too much interested in you right now, but I would love to talk with all mayors. So I have some mayors that are following me, which I was actually shocked when I saw that when I was going through. Thank you for following me. If you're watching this, probably not. But these are the mayors that have jumped to the top of the food chain. And while I don't know if every other mayor, and I looked at the top 100 mayors, while I don't know if the other mayors are buying, holding Bitcoin, stacking sats, as we call it, I know that these are, right? So Mayor Francis Suarez is in Florida, Miami, Florida. Biggest mayor, biggest bull. The Bitcoin Miami conference is there in Miami. He's said he's going to take his salary in Bitcoin, which he has. He's still taking his salary in Bitcoin. He did the city coins. The sad thing about Mayor Suarez, though, is that yes, he was courting FTX, and yes, the FTX stadium was there, and yep, he got caught up in that hoo-ha, but I don't think he saw it coming. Most of us didn't see it coming. So I don't really hold that against Mayor Suarez. Mayor Suarez is a Bitcoiner through and through, and I think people should pay a lot of attention to him. I'm hoping that one day Mayor Suarez will probably run for president. I think he'd make a phenomenal president. He actually tweeted last year that he hopes that the next election will bring us a Bitcoin president. Who knows? Maybe it'll be him. The next mayor has flip-flopped on us. Eric Adams, if you're watching, listen, I don't know what you are, to be honest. I mean, I know that you say you're accepting your salary in Bitcoin, so that's why I have you here. But I think you pulled a fast one on us. I think you did a bait and switch on us. You talked a good game while you were running for office. Now that you're in office, it seems a little weird. So maybe I'll get you to come on my show. Maybe you'll talk to us about your position on Bitcoin and what you think about Bitcoin. I know I'd love it. The next three mayors, you can't beat them, right? Scott Conger in Jackson, Tennessee, he would love to accept his salary in Bitcoin, but Tennessee's legislation won't allow him to. So what did he say he'd do instead? He said, I'm still going to convert my checks right into Bitcoin, right along with these other mayors. I support Bitcoin, believe in Bitcoin, and he's supporting it. So great for Mayor Scott Conger. Now, Mayor Jane Castor, she's in Tampa. She came out and said the same thing. She said, hey, listen, I see all these other mayors doing it. I want in on the action too. I want to make sure I get my salary in Bitcoin. Now, when these mayors started getting their salary in Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin was really high. And they've lost about 70, 80% of their salary with Bitcoin dropping. So this is why you have to be incredibly careful when you're dealing with Bitcoin. It is not a short-term asset. In the short term, Bitcoin can do anything. It can go from 16 to 100. It can go from 100 to 16. You don't know. And so position yourself such that if you're going to dabble with this, that you have staying power. Because without it, you can get hurt really, really bad. Our last mayor, Mayor Jason Stewart, he didn't show up on the top 100 cities because his city is not large enough. He's got a little city, but he's bold. He said he was going to give every citizen in Cool Valley, Missouri, $1,000 in Bitcoin. Now, I need to follow up with that and find out if that's actually transpired, if it's happened. I'm not sure. But I know that that's what the news coverage said. And that's what he's been saying. And he's been very active on Twitter and sharing his thoughts. And you're going to see some of those soon. As a matter of fact, let's jump right over to these quotes. On our next slide, we're going to look at the quotes. So this is what Miami Mayor Francis Suarez said at Bitcoin 2022. We must integrate Bitcoin into every aspect and fabric of society. And I agree with him. We all know that's going to take an incredible long time to happen, though, right? Think about it. To get Bitcoin integrated in every aspect of life, that means you're holding it as a store of value, using it as a medium of exchange, we're pricing things with a unit of account, right? It's a system of control, which means that everybody, governments, countries, everything has adopted the Bitcoin standard. That's hyper Bitcoinization. And we know some of us might not be around when it actually happened. Listen, I'm not of the mindset that you're going to have hyper Bitcoinization in the next 5, 10, 20 years. I think it's going to take a significant amount of time, especially if we keep having stuff like FTX happen, right? So, but I support Mayor Francis on this, Mayor Suarez. I support him in the statement, and I hope that they're in Miami, they're able to do it. And slowly but surely, I hope the mayors get together as a group and begin discussing how to weave Bitcoin into the fabric of their cities. I think that would be powerful. Our next quote comes from Mayor Jason Stewart, and he says this: politicians, leave Bitcoin alone. So like leave Britney alone, leave Britney alone. I'm not gonna try, but anyway, leave Bitcoin alone and let it be great. Bitcoin doesn't need our help. Lawmakers tend to overregulate, which ruins good things. Sometimes the best answer is to do nothing. It's a great quote, right? I believe the same thing. And I believe that Bitcoin, for the most part, is not as heavily regulated. Crypto has a problem. right? Crypto has a problem. And that's one of the things that Jason has done a lot, or Mayor Stewart, sorry. Mayor Stewart has done a lot, is that he has been on Twitter talking to people. People have been educating him. He's been saying, thank you for helping me to see that there is a material difference between Bitcoin and crypto. And that's an ongoing narrative right now. A lot of people are starting to really make that distinction. There is Bitcoin and there is everything else. And most of us Bitcoiners know that. Now, the toxic maxis will tell you in no kind ways that, and they'll say it not nicely. And I get where they're coming from. I don't blame Bitcoin maxis for taking the Bitcoin only stance. I don't think you need to be toxic and rude to people when you're doing it. And I heard some people in this last week on some podcasts say some really rude crap to people that were asking honest questions about Bitcoin. And I think that that's unfortunate. I think if you're treating people really rude because you can, I ain't got time to explain to you. I don't want to talk about it, right? That's dumb. Don't do that to people. Yes, it might get tiring to explain stuff over and over again, but that's the way we're going to get this thing to work. Not everyone get what you get right away. Not everyone understands at their level. So let us be patient and kind to people in Bitcoin, those no coiners, and those people that are curious about this. Let's treat them with a lot of respect. We don't have to treat them rudely. Okay, let's go to our next quote. This is from Mayor Eric Adams. He says, "Trust me, it's going to bounce back," said Adams, laughing. "When I invest in my stocks, they go down. I purchase, they go up. That's how investments are. You want to buy low, sell high. And so, trust me, we're going to be all right." Now, he said that in reference to someone that was trying to take a jab at him, talking about, ha, 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 you bought Bitcoin, it was high, and you lost all your money, right? And so he's saying, trust me, it's going to bounce back. Anyone who's been in Bitcoin, we all have said the same thing, right? This is going to bounce back. That's just the way it is. We can't look at this in short time frames. I again tell everybody, let's go back to the beginning of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been in existence for 14 years, $0. Where is it today? $17,000. Matter of fact, it's doing a little pump right now, 17,222. So you've got Bitcoin trading at $17,000 over the past 14 years. What other asset has performed that way? Zero. What's going to happen in the next 14 years? Yeah, that's a long time. I get it. But that's the way it works. Anyone who is looking for overnight millionaire status and looking for a quick buck, Bitcoin's not for you. Bitcoin's going to be for those people who believe in the ethos of what Bitcoin is, and that is the hardest, soundest money. It is decentralized, censorship resistant, and what I like to say is, yeah, it resists censorship. It is not 100% because we've seen people try. It's the best form of money. Mark Yusko said, Bitcoin is the best saving technology the world has ever seen. And I think that's what we all need to realize, is that it really is the best. Okay, there's some news articles that's here. I won't really go through these news articles, but I do want you, once you get this brief after the show's over, take a look at some of these, right? And this is the article showing where Mayor Stewart was giving the citizens in his city Bitcoin. And there's more than Eric Adams talking about Bitcoin bets on his paycheck, and then Mayor Suarez talking about taking it as a salary. Jane Conger also, as well as Scott Conger and Jane Castor. Sorry, messing the names up. But they too have articles out there. Didn't have a chance to really pull up all those articles. You guys probably want to go take a look for those. Now, podcast. This is a great podcast with Mayor Stewart talking about airdropping Bitcoin. And again, this was on a Bitcoin Spaces with the guys from Bankless. It's just absolutely amazing. Now, one thing that I didn't put in the slides, and you can leave it right there on the podcast while I talk through this. I'm going to pull up my spreadsheet. I have it on a different screen. Sorry. These cities, I wanted to talk about how many people are in these cities because it's actually quite interesting. And let me sort my sheet again back to the rankings. So New York is the largest city, 8 million people, almost 9 million people. The fact that we have someone who's tuned into Bitcoin in that city is good. Here's something that a lot of people are getting probably not right. Yes, the governor did come out and did put a mining moratorium in place. But this mining moratorium is not banning Bitcoin mining outright. What it's doing is it's saying that if you're mining Bitcoin with energy that's not renewable, we're going to tell you we're not going to renew your license if you keep doing it, and we're not going to give you a license if you want to do it. They're trying to go 100% renewable. And while I don't agree with that because I think the whole ESG narrative is blown way out of proportion, we have Bitcoin being talked about in the largest city on earth. Now, Los Angeles is right after that. And the mayor there is a strong mayor. So both Eric Adams is a strong mayor and the mayor of California is a strong mayor. Almost 4 million people in LA. Now, my good friends, Altcoin Daily guys, Austin and Arnold, they're there. I can't get that wrong. Yeah, I see. So, but they're there. Altcoin Daily guys are there. They're in Los Angeles. My hope is that they are one of the biggest. As a matter of fact, they might be the biggest YouTube show, and it's in LA. My hope, and I'm going to probably poke them a little bit and see if they will get their mayor on Altcoin Daily. How cool would that be? That mayor talking to me, I'm in Texas, probably wouldn't give me the time of day. Probably be like, don't want to talk with you, right? I don't have a big enough name. But the Altcoin Daily guys do. So I think it would be phenomenal if they were to get Eric Garcetta on their show. And I think that would be phenomenal. Okay, let's look at the third largest city. This is Chicago, and it has Lori Lightfoot. 2 million people, almost 3 million people to be exact. Houston's followed behind that with 2 million. Arizona's right after that. Phoenix, Arizona's right after that. Philly is right after that. San Antonio, Texas. San Diego. And then, of course, at number 9 is my mayor in Dallas, Eric Johnson. And so I'm going to try to get Eric Johnson and try and talk with him about Bitcoin. Wish me luck. I might make it. I might not make it. Now, of all of those mayors that's in the top 10, rounding out top 10 is San Jose, California, and they've got right around 1 million people. So the top 10 each have 1 million people. Okay, and if you add all those numbers up, you're looking at 9, 4, 12, you're looking at 15, you're looking at well over 25 plus million people being exposed to Bitcoin in these cities. If these cities could get their mayors on board and those mayors talk with their governors and the other elected officials, how powerful would it be? With just those cities alone, I think they could have a huge impact in the world of Bitcoin. And I think that would create more Bitcoiners than anything else. Now, Dennis Porter was talking about this. He was like, while we're all focusing on the federal side, and that's good, we need to spend some time looking at the local. This is one of the reasons I'm keep burrowing down to local. My next video probably will be on CBDCs. But then after that, or sometime in the future, I'm going to start getting to the actual Congresses of the states, the House and Senate of the state. Like Texas has a House and Senate, right? So I want to start looking at those members and seeing if they've been exposed to Bitcoin, because I think it could be really good. Now, again, of those top 10, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them are strong mayors. So they act as CEOs of their cities. They got a lot of pull, and that's going to be pretty awesome. The others are council managers, which is right up there. That was the next level down, council manager. So again, these top 10 cities, if we focused on those as Bitcoiners, and everybody on Twitter and everybody you know, if they live in one of these cities, New York, LA, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, Philly, San Antonio, San Diego, Dallas, and San Jose, we have an opportunity to really make an impact when it comes to people understanding what Bitcoin is and how Bitcoin operates. Okay? All right. Let me once again mention Forward. Forward is a phenomenal, and again, I say a phenomenal platform to help you understand your health, give you really good health. And I think that's something that you should be trying to do. They say proactive is better than so preventative is better than corrective, right? If we're trying to prevent ourselves from getting sick, if we're taking that look at our health, it's better for us. If we're just simply letting things happen and then doing the corrective, it's going to cost you more money and it's going to suck really bad. So don't do that. All right. I was wanting to have a little fun, so I decided to take a look and see who was the most followed mayor on Twitter. And the winner is Eric Garcetti. It's Los Angeles. So again, Altcoin Daily guys, you guys need to talk to your mayor, get him on the show. He has over 434,000 followers. Then we've got Mayor Sylvester Turner in Houston, 173, and then in Chicago, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, she's got 156. Again, I have a link to the mayor's list. If you click on that Twitter link, you're going to have access to all of the mayors in the top 100 cities. You can easily pull that list up. You can see what they're tweeting about on a regular basis. You will be able to follow them if you like to. You can reach out to them. You can tweet at them, yada, 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 right? All right. Now, I decided to go the other direction too and look at the ones that had the least followers on Twitter. And boy, it's really bad. Now, I'm equating that some of these mayors are newly elected and they probably don't use Twitter that much. So, Mayor Alan Jonas in Winston-Salem only got 43 followers. Mayor David Bronson in Anchorage, Alaska, 71. And Mayor Scott LeMay in Garland, Texas, which is not far from me, 193. I was actually shocked that Garland even made the list. As a matter of fact, Garland, I think, is right at 100. Uh, yeah, it's 91 on the list. So, again, I still want to reach out to these mayors. I'll probably try to tweet at them a little bit. I hope that you'll join me and you'll tweet at them a little bit and get these folks up to speed on what Bitcoin is. Because, again, if you look at all of the different areas, we've got the president, of course. You've got all of Congress, 535 members. You got all these governors, right? I just covered the 50 governors in all the states. And then you've got these mayors, which is I've covered 100 of them. This is a lot of people. And it also goes to start to show you how government is laid out in this country. There's really not a lot of people governing 246 million people. I think that's how many people we have, right? Small amount. So, but if we can get those folks talking about Bitcoin with their loved ones, with their constituents, with their members that's on their team, and we can begin to truly penetrate these offices, these political offices, how great would it be? Now, the way we're going to do that is we've got to be incredibly friendly to these people. Going screaming and yelling at them will not give us the results we want. Got to be nice, right? You can attract flies with honey, not with vinegar. I don't know if we want to call them flies. I don't know why that's a good metaphor. But anyway, the point is be nice. Let's see if they're even interested in listening. Now, right now, we have a huge hill to climb. Why? Because we have the FTX scandal. We got all this crap going on. The price is down. Nobody wants to touch Bitcoin right now. Getting through to them right now is probably going to be tough. But here's the thing, it's the best time to talk to them. Why? The price is low. If Bitcoin goes further down, then I think that's a great thing. Why? Because people can truly begin to stack sats. They might even be able to acquire one Bitcoin. You let Bitcoin get to 10K, as I said, back up the truck, right? Just keep loading up and again, if you just keep stacking your sats, no matter what the price is. Right now, again, the price of Bitcoin is trading at 17,219. Buy you a little bit now. And if it goes to 15, buy a little bit more. 14, buy a little bit more. 10, buy a whole bunch more. If it goes to 8, load up the truck, right? That's just the way that it is. But this is the time now to start really talking to people once again about Bitcoin, because here's the thing, Bitcoin hasn't changed. What fundamentally has changed about Bitcoin? Nothing. FTX had nothing to do with Bitcoin. Bitcoin itself hasn't had hacks. TikTok, next block, they've been incorporating new features into Bitcoin, Taproot, Snore signatures. It's getting better and better by the day. Nothing's wrong with Bitcoin. Everything's wrong with the price. And that's okay. This is the way it works. So, again, please reach out to your mayors. If I mention your city, reach out to those mayors and say, hey, listen, I saw you on Bitcoin and Politics. You were mentioned on Bitcoin Politics. Do you know anything about Bitcoin? And see what they say. And I'm going to be tweeting to some of them. If you see the tweets that I send to your mayor, jump on that tweet, retweet it, like it, comment on it, because that's the way we're going to begin to create that groundswell to get folks to really pay attention to what's going on. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about outside of politics, but I do want to talk about the 3 big stories today, and I'm going to pull up my other website over here. Okay, so 3 big stories happened today, and so far these are the biggest covered stories. We've got disclosure, right? We've got U.S. lawmakers in the State Department saying that they have to reveal if they're going to actually, I take that back. I take that back. That was from yesterday. The ones for today is over collateralized. Binance. Binance is over collateralizing their Bitcoin, right? So if you look at Binance, and this is what I said last week about what? About these exchanges. And I went on a whole rant about this. And I know people probably have difference in opinions from me. I get it. It's okay. And I could be totally wrong. I am still a not your keys, not your crypto, not your coins guy, right? Not your keys, not your coins guy. If you have the competence, the perpetual competence to understand this stuff and demand your own keys, please do it. If not, use a firm like Unchained Capital. Unchained Capital is one of the sponsors of the show. They help you manage your Bitcoin and they don't have control over it. This is not you giving your keys to somebody else. This is you maintaining your keys, but they use multi-sig. Have a key, you have a key, your loved one has a key. If anything happens to you, your loved one in Unchained can get your Bitcoin. If you and your loved one wants to take it from Unchained, you can do that. It's a great solution. You should look at it. They even have it to where you can use the platform and you're not going to even pay them. So if you're super savvy and you want to use multi-sig, you should take and check out Unchained, right? So, but Binance is over collateralized when it comes to Bitcoin. Gemini has come out with information. They have a trust center now. Coinbase, Kraken, right? These are the ones that I still believe are tried and true, and that if you use them, I don't necessarily see what happened to FTX happened to them. I could be wrong. And again, if you're taking advice from me on what you should do with your Bitcoin, on whether you put it on an exchange or you hodl your own keys, you're missing the boat. Do not do that. I'm providing you some information that you need to take into consideration and look at, and then you got to make your own decision. Listen to Paul. He said those exchanges might be okay. I think I'm gonna leave it. Okay, that's great, but you did that. But you don't do that because I said it. At the same time, I'm not going to sit here and tell everyone that these exchanges are just like FTX and you better hurry and get your Bitcoin off of it or you're going to lose it. I don't believe that's the case. Again, the next one was about Celsius. Now we know that Celsius and Voyager and BlockFi, all these guys were bankrupt. Now they've come out and the judge has said, we noticed that Celsius moved customers' crypto into the Earn program before they file for bankruptcy. That crypto needs to go back to the users. Can't do that, guys. And then Terra Luna, of course, we think Sam Bankman, Bingy, as Dave Pointer likes to call him, fraud, probably has something to do with the Terra Luna collapse. How horrible is that? It's not good. So those are the top three stories that were out there. The podcast of the day, of course, was The Wolf of Wall Street, my friend Scott Melker. He's breaking down the crypto bear market with Lucas Outnumero. I think that's what you pronounce his name, into the block. And then, of course, Michael Saylor was the video of the day. Now, Michael Saylor has begun to beat this drum that says what? Everything is a security except for Bitcoin, and all of it should be shut down. I think he says that for a reason. He holds Bitcoin. He's a Bitcoin-only guy. And if you do that, more than likely, all the money flows over to Bitcoin. Popping Bitcoin's price helps him out. I don't know if that's why he's doing it. I'm just saying. But I can't say he's wrong. Is Ethereum a security? That's where we still are trying to debate. Is XRP a security? The court case is going to come out soon and tell us. Is everything else behind that a security? It's looking like it is, right? And so unless something comes out definitive from the regulators, we're looking at potentially everything getting shut down. Now, I didn't talk about it. I know my good friend George Leonardo over at Capitol Crypto. I'm going to have to get him back on the show so he can talk about this too. The library decision was huge. Library decision sets up the possibility that the SEC can go after more and more crypto companies and do the same thing they did to Library. Library most likely will have to shut down. So that's the reality. It is important that we pay attention to, I know we hate government, and I know people don't like the government, and we just want to poo-poo everything about the government, but it also behooves us to make sure that we're paying enough attention that we can have a voice. We need to know what they're trying to do. We need to know what impact that's going to have on us, more so what impact it has on Bitcoin, but we all know it's not going to have much impact on Bitcoin at all. Why? TikTok, next block. You're not going to stop anything with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is totally decentralized. There's nothing the government can do about Bitcoin. They can try and come out with things like China and say, okay, all Bitcoin miners get out of the country. Okay, great. There's still Bitcoin miners in China. China still holds Bitcoin, right? So what did you really accomplish? Nothing, right? And so you're not going to stop Bitcoin. You're not going to shut Bitcoin down. Bitcoin is not in the security. There's nobody to go after. There's nobody to throw in jail. There's nobody to fine. This is the beautiful thing about Bitcoin. And if you get nothing else from these presentations I do, get that Bitcoin is the asset to have. That's just the way I see it. So I tell you what, folks, I am making this show a short show today. Why? Well, because I was just talking about the mayors. I'm not feeling super great. I'm sure you can probably tell. So I'm making it short. And I do have a show coming up soon. I think it might be next week. We're going to talk about CBDCs. I'm going to be talking with our producer, Nick, and Alexander Lures, right, from Quantum Economics, good colleague over Quantum Economics. So we're going to talk about that because I still have a publication out there that I'm keeping updated with everything happening with CBDCs. We're going to unpack that for you. On Sunday, Bitcoin is Freedom, I'll talk more about something, not exactly sure what yet, but there's always stuff to talk about when it comes to Bitcoin and freedom, right? Because that's what Bitcoin gives us. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And until next time, bye.